to the class on Victorian poetry. So, yesterday we looked at the first generation poets of the Victorian era, and today we'll be looking at the pre Raphaelite poets or the second generation poets of Victorian era. So, you have to understand that pre Raphaelite movement is not a literary movement in the beginning but an artistic movement. So they sought to bring back whatever the so-called modern art was uh, not trying to do. That is to bring back the raw, uh, fleshly school of poetry and art. So the Pre-Raphaelite Brotherhood was founded in 1848 by William Holman Hunt, John Everett Millais, and D.G. Rossetti. So it was actually initiated by D.G. Rossetti, and as I already mentioned, it was initially an artistic movement. So he just wanted to get rid of all the formal and academic paintings, or the way people painted all the formal, uh, the way people painted formally. So he sought to return art to a truer state. And the other members, of course, were Woolner and Collinson. So this is a example of the pre-Raphaelite painting, and this is Ophelia, actually, the character from Hamlet. Just before she drowned, if you know, right, she actually drowns, kills herself by drowning. So before she drowns, with all the flower in her hands, she's just floating. So, so you can see there is an attention to detail, and she looks radiant. And this is an example of pre-Raphaelite uh, painting. Now, when you come to the features of pre-Raphaelite poetry, so the first generation, I hope you all remember how it was. Either it was all clung on the past, or they tried to experiment with newer poetic form. All trying to reassure people that everything is going to be all right and the conflict is going to be okay soon. Here they're just, these people are just disconnected from all that. Okay, they just focused on art and uh, poetry. So break with tradition, medievalism, sensuousness, devotion to detail, meter and music. So these are the five broad characteristics of the pre-Raphaelite poetry. So D.G. Rossetti broke away from the conventional style, and here are the two volumes named Poems and Ballads and Sonnets. And everybody, the moment you say Rossetti, this is the one famous poem that comes to your mind, the Blessed Damozel. And when you read the very lengthy poem, you would understand that he has got a gift for description of almost uncanny splendor. William Morris. So, most of his poetry shows love for beauty, of color, sound, scenery, passion for medieval. And this is the dominant mood of his work, dreamy melancholy. And here he goes to medieval age, reverence for Chaucer, love for Icelandic sagas, and all that. So, in one end, you can maybe do a comparative study of uh, Tennyson and William Morris. Swinburne. So he also shows, cunning metrical craftsmanships, mastery of melodious diction. These are his three volumes of poetry. And the last one, Atalanta in Calydon, is an attempt at an English version of an ancient Greek tragedy. Now, about Hopkins. So he was a Catholic priest initially, and he later on, most of his works were published posthumously, and he also experimented with language and rhyme, and he invented the sprung rhythm. It's an important point to note. A poetic meter approximating to speech, each foot having one stressed syllable followed by a varying number of unstressed ones. Now, he is regarded as the pioneer of the modern literature. His poems were not published up till 30 years after his death. So, again, it's Victorian era. He was a Catholic priest. So, you can imagine the kind of conventional life that they were leading. Even poetry was considered as some kind of medium that took people away from the God. So you can imagine how a Catholic priest struggled to write in secret and hide his poetry. Elizabeth Barrett Browning. So, women of acute sensibility, supporter of many good causes like the attainment of Italian independence. And some of her famous works are an essay on mind with other poems, and longest work is Aurora Leigh. And interestingly, uh, Elizabeth Barrett Browning died at the hands of her husband, a very dramatic death, something that she actually uh, wished for. Christina Rossetti. Please note that we're not dealing with Elizabeth Browning or Christina Rossetti in detail, but they're very, very important uh, poets of the Victorian era, and it takes an entire different session itself to talk about them. So, right now, we are just skipping through. Famous for writing Goblin Market, and a poem about two sisters and how they are lured by goblins at the market. It's a very interesting read, and largely lyrical style, good command of humor, and mainspring of inspiration is religion, and simplicity of tone and language are remarkable in her poetry. So, thank you for watching.